Once a professor at the business school of Brown University, a top-notch school, who was adhering to moral relativism,
that is, no fits all permanent truth,
admitted before his students, quote, "I can no longer teach business ethics," end of quote.
Why is it not possible to teach ethics without first recognizing that there exists an absolute moral standard and body of truth that is true everywhere and at any time, aka universal? Without recognizing and accepting certain absolutes, the formation of ethics of any universal kind, including that involving business, is not possible. So, since to secularists there is no God, and therefore absolute moral truth does not exist, it makes sense that the renowned evolutionary biologist E.O. Wilson once declared, quote, "The basis of ethics does not lie in God's will," end of quote. So why do humans behave the way they do, both good and bad actions? Dawkins, in his earlier book, The Selfish Gene, argued that all our behaviors are programmed by selfish genes, whose sole objective is to ensure their own survival through fertile adaptive reproduction, to lead behind their descendants. So, natural selection weeds out those traits least conducive for the survival of the fittest, while accumulating selfish genes that ensure that the strong grow stronger and produce more offspring at the expense of the weak, a theme that some have classified as social Darwinism. Okay, then how is bad behavior explained? According to evolutionary psychology, says Nancy Pearcey in A Total Truth, quote, "If natural selection is the reason we are good, it's also the reason we are bad. Even the September 11 attack had nothing to do with moral evil. They merely show that a predisposition to violence is written in the molecular chemistry of DNA. Their genes made them do it," in quote. In other words, 9/11 is no one's fault really. They did what they were meant to do genetically. What then is the purpose and meaning for life in secularism, where there is no God and no fixed moral truth, and the most valued attribute is selfishness for survival? Since all that is left is material, the purpose and meaning for life is to grab as many material things as possible by way of weeding out weaker competition.
So without any absolute moral standard to refrain human access, the most important goal in business becomes maximizing the profit margin by using whatever method. Perhaps nobody embodied the categorical rejection of God's absolute truth governing the sphere of business better than Jeff Skilling, who earned his MBA from a business school very similar to where the aforementioned professor taught, Harvard Business School. Skilling, former CEO of now defunct Enron Corporation that once was the fastest rising energy company in America, was convicted in 2006 of securities fraud, conspiracy, and making false statements, for which he was initially given a sentence of 24 years in prison.
As a result, thousands of people lost their jobs and their pensions wiped out. Skilling confessed that Dawkins, The Selfish Gene, was his favorite book, and that he derived inspiration of social Darwinist character from it. Dawkins, upon learning about Skilling's confession, said he was mortified by it. But why should he? Evolutionary secularists cannot deny the fact that survivability in the wild earth has to do with being selfish in its ordinary sense. A bigger and stronger animal with a growling stomach will stop at nothing to catch its prey and will be in no altruistic mood to share the loot with his neighbors. Without God, the meaning and purpose of work is lost. The only thing left to do is to increase profit margin by weeding out the competition by using whatever means deemed necessary, including deception. As a remedy, we need to recover the purpose for which God has called Adam to engage in both manual and institutional labor from the outset. This before the fall.